Hello and welcome back into the Pain and Panic podcast. I'm your host, Chris Reynolds. Today joined by Adam Sheets in the more of the less host, more analyst role today. Adam,
Yeah.
how you doing?
I'm doing great. I hate when we have to do these negative shows, but that's what we're doing today. I like being the host because you normally get to say the takes and then have to deal with the flack if they're wrong. I sit here and just enjoy it, and now you're gonna potentially put me on the hot seat. So
I am, because we are ranking the most tortured fan bases in the NFL today. And Adam, listen, I'm still going to give my takes. I'm still going to have some hot takes.
Of course,
for you, okay?
of course.
I'm just going to tease some up for you too, okay? So
Yeah.
we're going to do it, not a draft. We're each going to have a list of our top 5 most tortured fan bases. And what really started this, I don't know if I even told you this, Adam. I'm in the car after this game on Saturday, was the next game, with my uncle. He's a Bills fan. My cousins are Bills fans. And after the Bills loss, I'm like, wow. I'm like, who's the most tortured NFL team? I'm like, could it be the Vikings or it might be the Bills? He's like, how dare you say the Vikings? It's the Bills. You have to know the history. And then I looked at it and I'm like, all right. And we're going to get to that. And I'm like, listen, you're kind of like discrediting the Vikings pain.
Yeah.
But I think
you're a little
right.
too close. You're a little too close to the sun there. But
so I'm like, but I understand you. So I actually looked at it and I looked at some of the teams and I'm thinking, which fan base would I least want to be a part of? Which one would cause me the most heartbreak? So, Adam, that's what we're going to do here. So, I think we should start from, do you want to go 1 to 5 or 5 to 1?
5 to 1.
5 to 1? All right.
Always 5 to 1.
All right.
Come on now, Chris.
You're right. From a quarterback ranking, I did 1 to 8, and I'm like, no, you got to go 8 to 1.
When there's a clear 1, but we have discussions here, because I think your one's going to be different than mine.
I honestly think it's closer than people would think.
Your one's going to be different than mine. I guarantee you.
Oh, okay. Well,
yes.
Adam, let's start like this, okay? Kind of not parameters, but the way I thought of it was like, which one would break my heart the most? Which one would be torture, okay? Like, that's kind of the word of like, which one's most tragic, torturous? Like, some teams might not be good, and it's not just who hasn't won, but it's like, who has the losses that you still haven't recovered from?
Yeah. Mine's something like that. I got a different one maybe potentially for you at my one spot too.
Each one has kind of different things, and like some things like, the Broncos, might have. Oh dang it, we have Jarrett Stidham now. Cool, you also won, like not that long ago. You know what I mean? You won many times back then. Like you have like a history of winning. But I'm looking at those teams that just always suck. Okay. So, Adam, give me your number 5 most tortured fan base in the NFL.
All right. Mine's interesting. I got the Atlanta Falcons. Now,
okay. They've
had a lot of the 98 Super Bowl they lost. That one hurt. But the main one here is the fact that they have to deal with 28-3 every year.
Yeah.
Every year someone brings it up.
And Tom Brady is on TV reminding you of it every single week.
So it didn't help. It's the greatest comeback of all time. Helps and capped by the greatest player of all time. So we're never going to forget it. And they have to deal with it. And they've had some close calls, as I mentioned. They've had some other ones. Their best player in franchise history is probably Deion Sanders, who's won 2 Super Bowls with 2 other teams. Never won with you. That probably doesn't feel good either. They've had a lot of pain. Things haven't gone well. It's mainly because of that one game. But they're at 5. I was like, there were some other teams that put at 5. Honorable mention I had were San Diego Chargers fans for losing their team and then them going to LA and not having any fans. They'd be like, oh, you miss me now, don't you? But I didn't put them, so I put the Falcons here.
That's like the guy and the girl, like they break up because they're like, I want to be single out there, not be chained down, and then they're like, I'm just lonely. No one was waiting for me to be single. I'm just out here by myself.
Yeah, but Falcons I have at 5, simply off the fact that they'll never get to live down the 28-3. And then the next year, they had the Eagles, who won the Super Bowl, beat, and it went through Julio's hands.
I had the Falcons as my honorable mention. They had the worst loss.
Yeah.
That's what it is you had the worst Super Bowl loss in history. And it's not like they won since then. Or like anytime near, like, our lifetime, like they never won in our lifetime. So like their recent history is just that. It's not like they won a Super Bowl like 2 years later to cover that up. So I agree that they are tortured, but like you're gonna be surprised at the list of like, wow, these teams are really tortured.
Yeah, but Seahawks would like to have a conversation about worst Super Bowl loss, but they had a win the year before, so they don't.
That's my point exactly. The Falcons don't have that other win the year before that gave them joy. Even after the Seahawks lost, you're like, you know what? I still saw my team win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
All right. I like your 5, and I'm gonna pick a different team. Towards my 5 area, I kind of went towards teams that just maybe don't have like the worst losses, but I just could not fathom being a fan of them.
Mm-hmm.
At number 5, I have the Detroit Lions, who right now are fun. I get that. We're not talking right now fan base. We're saying historically. They've never won. They've never made a Super Bowl. And it's just like you felt it in Detroit when they made the playoffs 2 years ago and they were playing the Niners and they choked that game away. You're like, dude, this is just the whole city felt that pressure of like, please, please, please finally get to a Super Bowl, and you can't. So, I think recent memory might, make us not think they're that bad, but they've had Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford.
Wow. Those are the two guys you mentioned.
No, I'm saying, okay, in my history, they had Matthew Stafford and Calvin Johnson. It amounted to like literally nothing.
Okay, well, Barry Sanders played there too. Can we give Barry Sanders a shout out, please?
Okay, yeah, Barry Sanders historically, but I'm saying they, in my like peak years of learning football, they had a great quarterback and the maybe best receiver, and they couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they were always a fun team to watch, but one that, always just fails.
Yeah. They're my number 4. I have the Lions 4.
You can go more into them for me.
Yeah. Mine was, first of all, you had Barry Sanders and Calvin Johnson, two of the best players, one of the best receivers we've ever seen, one of the best running backs we've ever seen. They both retire early because your team's so bad that they're just not going to do it anymore. They're like, we're good. We don't need to keep playing. No reason for us to keep trying. We're not going to win a Super Bowl here. We don't want to go play anywhere else. We have our statistics. Why risk getting hurt? We've had some injuries, so we're just going to hang them up early. So that obviously has to hurt. Matthew Stafford gets traded and immediately wins the Super Bowl with the Rams. Definitely doesn't help. And you mentioned like some of the recent success they've had, but it's also come with a lot of heartbreak. They had the Niners down big in the NFC Championship game, and the Niners come back and beat them. They are the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl last season, and they get absolutely smacked by the Washington Commanders and rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels. So that probably didn't feel good, as close as they've now gotten, where they've tasted some success, now getting hit back, and then they lose Ben Johnson, and they go 9-8 and miss the playoffs. So things are not looking good in Detroit. They've had so much heartbreak. They haven't won a Super Bowl yet.
Do you know how many playoffs they've had since? Guess how many playoff wins they have since 1957?
Playoff wins? I believe 3?
They have 1 playoff win since 1957.
They only won 1 game the year they went to the NFC Championship game?
Yeah. Because then
they beat the Rams and the Bucks.
Then I need to get this fact checked.
Yeah, I would say they beat the Rams and the Bucks, and then they lost to the Niners.
Let me fact check that. Hold on. NFL playoffs. I'm spreading misinformation out here, and if I'm wrong, you know where I got my info from, Adam.
ChatGPT. You can't trust that stuff. Yeah, they won 2 games. They
lying little snake.
Because the Seahawks had the bye.
They snaked me. Oh my gosh, ChatGPT keeps getting it wrong. All right.
Yes, they won 2 games.
Disregard me. I'm done with ChatGPT. Tell Izzy, she'll be happy.
Yeah, she'll be really happy. But yeah, so just so much pain. And like just the consistently being bad. Also, everyone getting to watch your team at least once a year on national TV lose on Thanksgiving definitely doesn't help. Definitely doesn't help with the holiday with the family around. If you're a Lions fan, and especially like if you don't have Lions fans in your family, and they get to sit there and be like, "Man, these Lions are horrible," and you're like, oh, for so long, and then you get good, and you still can't get it done in the playoffs. So yeah, Lions.
They're gonna probably waste this era of Amon-Ra and Gibbs and Goff and Laporta, and unless they can, I just don't think they're that close to a Super Bowl right now. So I just don't know.
Closing quick. A lot of young teams in the NFC North. So.
Right. So that was your 4. That was my 5.
Yep.
Okay. My 4. I'm between 2. There's one team that I would just hate to be a fan base of, but this other one, All right. I'm going to say the Browns are my number 4.
All right.
The issue with the Browns is they don't really ever have hope. You just know they're bad for the most part. Like, however, they're so bad that they're consistently the laughingstock of like just bad play. There's another team on here that I think gets made fun of more. But when I think of just the bad teams in the NFL, I consistently think of the Browns. When I look up a thumbnail of an NFL fan with a bag over their head, it's the Browns.
Yes, it is.
They went winless not too many years ago. What was that, 2017?
Yes, they did.
They went
2016. Or, no,
2016.
17, because 17. They won one game in 16, no games in 17.
Yeah, they had Baker and they wasted. They were the team that drafts Johnny Manziel. Their most successful quarterback was what, Joe Flacco in recent memory.
Well, Baker won a playoff game, but
well, didn't Joe Flacco win a game?
no, they got smoked by the Texans.
Oh, but they made the game and it was really fun.
They went 12-5 that year.
Yeah,
Baker won.
That was year they lost Nick Chubb, I think, and then Flacco was incredible. So like, they actually have had moments in recent history with Stefanski where they've had like 2 really good seasons, but this Deshaun Watson trade is gonna haunt them for a very long time. It is by far like in the top tier of worst trades ever, followed by the contract extension for fully guaranteed for a guy that has like multiple, illegal actions, cases against him. Not a great guy, and you gave him all this money. They're poorly run, and I think that's what consistently gets them, is they just keep making mistakes. They literally lost their team at one point, and then I just don't know what to do with the Browns. They're always bad, and I think that this is probably the team that would be the like most depressing consistently. There's not like a lot of the ups and downs of we were so close, but we just missed it. But it's like you never made a Super Bowl. Just there's no hope.
I'll talk about them later.
Okay.
My number 3, the Minnesota Vikings. I have it 3.
Wow. Okay. Tell me why they're 3 and not higher.
They're 3 and not higher because the 2 I have above them I have higher.
Great point, Adam. Did not think about that.
Yeah, but Gary Anderson is the big one here. NFC Championship game, 1998. Mentioned the Falcons there at 5. But Gary Anderson had not missed a kick in the entire 1998 season.
Adam. Whoa. Don't spoil my pick later here. Okay.
Well, you spoiled one of my picks, so I can do whatever the heck I want. You spoiled 2 of my picks.
Well,
okay,
my point was I was going to have them a decent bit higher, but okay.
Yeah, like Gary Anderson, never missed a kick. Missed a field goal, cost them the NFC Championship game. Now, who knows? They might not beat John Elway anyway. But, you never know. They have the Brett Favre play. You could have just took a knee. Play. You just could have took a knee and take the 53-yard field goal. This isn't Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. Quote, by the way.
Yes.
That's got to hurt. They have the Minneapolis Miracle, which is a positive play, which is then back-ended by them getting their doors blown off in Philadelphia by Nick Foles.
Yeah.
So, even when they got things good, it doesn't go well. Last year, they won 14 games and lost to the Rams on the road, but they didn't play in L.A. They played in Arizona. Just how things go. They lost to the Giants with Daniel Jones in the playoffs after going 12-5 and winning a bunch of one-score games.
Yep.
They can't find a way to win these big games, and
Adam,
it definitely got to hurt. So that's why
you're missing the biggest thing. 0-4 in Super Bowls. All 4 of those Super Bowls were in the 70s. So this was my conversation with my family, my cousins. They were like, the Bills lost 4 straight. I'm like, listen, that's terrible. But I'm like, the Vikings lost 4 in a 10-year span, which is like not the same.
The Bills also lost 4 in a 10-year span. If you just they won it 4 in a 4-year span. It's like
the Vikings lost 4 over a large span. I'm like saying they had 4 chances with this like dynasty that just actually wasn't dynasty because they couldn't win the big game, and they always got destroyed in those games. So they had 4 chances in a very short window. They lost all of them, like the Bills. That championship missed field goal. Probably one of the worst missed field. I would say the second worst missed field goal.
I didn't even say Blair Walsh.
Oh, you know what I was going to say? The Herschel Walker trade is just also always brought up. If you ever talk about worst trades, when Luka gets traded to the Lakers, it's like, all right, worst trades in sports. 1, Herschel Walker. 2, maybe this. 3, Deshaun Watson. Like, it's a lot. And
it's
also,
weird
because they had Randy Moss, Adam.
They did.
And that just kind of got wasted.
Yeah. The thing with the Herschel Walker trade is no one would remember it if the Cowboys weren't just so good at drafting players after it.
Yeah.
We've had so many trades to give up a bunch of picks for a guy, and we don't talk about it because the picks were awful. But the Cowboys hit on everything. That's
like the Nets Celtics trade. The Nets traded for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and Jason Terry. And it seemed like a great, not a great trade, but it seemed like, all right, that's a lot to give up for these, 3 old guys. But, they're trying to win now. And those picks turned to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, if it would have turned into Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz, will we really talk about it?
No, it would be like, oh, it didn't work out for either team. But now you're like,
no.
Oh, worst trade because you could have just had Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, which isn't how it works. But, yeah, it led to the Cowboys dynasty, and they had that looming over them. I really think it's the 70s. I don't think me and you are that, into the 70s
Fran
football.
Tarkenton's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I would die on that hill. Love Fran
Okay,
Tarkenton.
but I'm saying, like, it was a while ago, so we don't feel it the same of, like, they lost 4 Super Bowls in the 70s,
Yep.
but that's their history. And I think if you look at that, they have a case to be, I would say I had them as 2. I'll spoil my number 2 pick. I had the Vikings up there. I think 0-4 in the Super Bowls means a lot. The missed field goal in 1998 is terrible. And the Brett Favre play is what CJ Stroud did all day today, honestly.
Yeah.
Of just
Yeah.
terrible decisions, would have won. I mean, maybe they missed a field goal, but then, like, you had a chance to win it. Here he just gave the Saints the ball, and the Saints won in overtime. I'm very happy about that, though.
Yes, you are. They got the Minneapolis Miracle back, so.
Yeah. So that was your 3?
Yes, that was my 3. Your Vikings are at 2, so who's at 3? Let's see it.
You want my 3?
I think I know who's at 3. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, can I guess? Sorry, you froze there for a second.
Oh, yeah. What's your guess?
Is it the Jets?
It is the Jets. Are they your 2?
No, they're not.
Are they higher in your list?
No, they're not. They're not. I just when
The
you
Jets
mentioned
didn't
the
make your
Browns.
list?
Nope, they've won a Super Bowl. None of my teams have won a Super Bowl.
So listen,
Adam.
Adam. Listen. Every team I had on my list has not won a Super Bowl, except for the Jets, and that is because their only Super Bowl was Super Bowl 3. I don't know about you. I don't know about most of their fans, but I don't think they were alive watching Joe Namath win Super Bowl 3. It was so long ago that it no longer is, like, relevant in their fans' mind. There's probably, like, I would give every fan base, like, you have, like, 10 years, where after 10 years, you could start, like, really wanting another one. After, like, 30, I'm like, you deserve another one. They haven't won in a very long time. I just think that's so long ago. I made an exception. And it's not that just that the Jets are usually really bad. And they always give you hope that their team is going to be good. They always get the guy who's a big name coming off a bad situation, and then he finds their way to the Jets, and it just doesn't work out. I'm not even talking about Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is their most recent one of Aaron Rodgers, 4 plays in, tears his Achilles. And they had a really good defense that year. I think they actually could have made the playoffs that year if they had Aaron Rodgers before his torn Achilles. You look at their other players that like that, like Le'Veon Bell was just, didn't work out, kind of a waste of money for them, honestly. And they're always that team. I think, did they get Darrelle Revis when he was done?
Well, they had Darrelle Revis when he was really good.
Oh, then he was really good, but I don't know.
They had Darrelle.
I was about to say, I remember they got someone else in that time span who was old or whatever.
Brett Favre. They got
Brett Favre. They did the Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre thing. They always get the guy after he's done. They always, like Brandon Marshall after the Bears, they get Brandon Marshall, and it was like, oh, cool, but then, they're not that good by the time they get there. They're always that team, but they always get the fan base happy. And I root for the Jets. I would like them to be great. They just have not won in so long, and they actually have made some playoff games, but lose them. They're kind of like the Mets of, like, they get made fun of a lot. They're the team that, trade or signs Tim Tebow. The Mets also did that. Like, they're that team. They're the ones that people make fun of. But I actually think they could be fun, just they're not. And it's not like Cleveland's like, what? The Jets are like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, it's sad, but they managed to give you some hope. That's why I had them number 3.
Yeah. All right. So your number 2 is the Vikings, correct?
My 2 was the Vikings. And
right.
now, wait, so give me your list again. Your 5.
I have Falcons at 5, Lions at 4, and Vikings at 3.
Okay.
I have the Bills at 2. So the Bills are at 2. With
I'm sending this to my family, Adam.
4 Super Bowl losses in a row. I'll explain why, who's at number 1. But the Bills are at 2. 4 Super Bowl losses in a row. Definitely hurts. Scott Norwood's missed field goal. Absolutely awful. They've had a bunch of pain recently. It's been awful. And, they probably could be at 1. But I have something at 1 because I hold something ahead of all the pain that you can get from losing a game. This one's way worse. So, yeah, Bills at 2. Okay. Everyone knows the Bills' pain. I don't really have to say much else about it.
Oh, I think we should go into the Bills' pain because it's very relevant right now. But I actually want to save the Bills because I'm going to spoil it now. They're my 1.
Well, yeah.
Adam, give me your 1. Is it the Browns?
Yes, it is. The Cleveland Browns are my
Make
number
the
one
case for the
team.
Browns number one. I think they have a
The
very
worst,
different,
the
very different
worst
argument
thing,
than the
the
Bills.
worst thing you can do is take a team away from somebody.
Yep.
The Browns lost their team.
Yep.
And since they have watched that team go to Baltimore and win 2 Super Bowls and be one of the most competent franchises in the NFL, while you are the most incompetent franchise in the NFL. They have the jersey with all the shirts. They have the jersey with all the names that have played quarterback since the year 2000. That would not be the case if the Ravens just played in Cleveland like they were supposed to, but they left and went to Baltimore. Thank you, Art Modell. The Drive happened against the Cleveland Browns in the AFC Championship game. The fumble happened the very next year against the Denver Broncos again in the AFC Championship game to get the Broncos to back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. They had a bunch of heartbreak right before that. Since Art Modell took over the team, it's been nothing but pain. He made Jim Brown quit football. He made Paul Brown go create the Cincinnati Bengals. The team was named after those guys, dang it. Well, not Jim Brown. It was named after Paul Brown. Jim Brown just happened to play there, which was fitting. They had all that pain through the 70s and 80s. Then you do the one thing that you can't recreate that pain, which is literally take the team from you. And then have to go watch them now be division rivals and watch them be successful. And you sit there being like, we have not been successful since the 1980s. We had Bill Belichick as our head coach for 2 years, and then they moved the team. Belichick's no longer the coach in Baltimore. Belichick creates a dynasty in New England, and we get to sit here, and we're like, man, who's going to be our next quarterback? Maybe it'll be Brady Quinn. Maybe Brady Quinn's going to work out for us. Brandon Weeden might work out for us. Johnny Manziel's the guy. Promise me. Deshaun Kaiser. Come on, baby. Baker Mayfield might have actually worked out, but nope. Deshaun Watson's going to work out, baby. That's what we need. Nothing ever works for the Cleveland Browns. And they had to watch their team that was supposed to be part of their team. Because remember, the Ravens' first draft, they drafted Ray Lewis. He could have been a Cleveland Brown.
I forget, how does their history work? Does it go to Baltimore?
They get it back.
They got it back.
Yep.
Okay. That helps not that much because it's not like they have Super Bowls to go back to.
You said fan bases. You said fan bases.
Yeah.
So.
No, I know, but I'm saying, would you count? We had a Super Bowl.
Browns
they don't have a Super Bowl to count, so it's not like that. Whatever. But I think losing your team hurts a lot. I like that point, and I think you could argue that. However, I think the Bills have taken the spot as the number one most tortured fan base. I know, the 4 Super Bowls in a row and losing is devastating, and I think though this new era with Josh Allen. Both of those combined now make them the most tortured NFL fan base. The 4 Super Bowls in a row, losing them, the first one you just lose on a missed field goal that would have won you the game. That alone is the worst missed field goal in NFL history.
They were 7.5-point favorites in that game.
And you lose the next 3 right after that. And it just feels like after each year, it was just like you felt like you were cursed. Yeah. And they were close games you could win too. It wasn't even oh, we knew it was over. It's they all hurt. And then you go through a gigantic stretch of no playoffs. And then you're all right, well, we have nothing here. And then you get Josh Allen. I know they made it with Tyrod, but you get Josh Allen. That's really the chance.
You skipped the playoff game they had. Those pretty hard.
I'm getting to that too. Don't worry.
No, I'm talking about, are you going to skip Nathan Peterman's game-losing interception to the Jacksonville Jaguars?
Oh, I was going to skip that.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey.
I was going to say...
Let's get it in there.
Okay. I was going to say, what is it, the Music City Miracle?
Music City Miracle, yes.
The Music City Miracle. That play, I honestly forget it was the Bills, and I just remember the Titans. And maybe it's what people feel with the Minneapolis Miracle. It's people think of the Vikings, not the Saints. I don't know. But
and the Titans went to the Super Bowl that year.
They did. And Adam, that was 100% a forward pass.
Oh, yeah. Duh.
So they reviewed it, and they're like, nope, it was backwards. I'm like, he started on the 19, threw it to the 21. How was that backwards? I don't know. So that playoff loss alone, I think you could actually argue is on the same level of the Minneapolis Miracle. I would say the Minneapolis Miracle is bad in the sense of it was the easiest tackle that was missed, but this play was just complete shocking of you just scored, thought you're going to win. And then with the Josh Allen era, let's recap it. It all really starts in 2021, the 13 seconds versus the Chiefs.
Oh. Why are you skipping his AFC Championship appearance? You're costing him an AFC title appearance in 2020 that they lost.
Who did they lose? Was that the Chiefs
They
again?
lost to Kansas City in 2020 before the Chiefs went and got smoked by the Bucks. Stephon Diggs stood on the field, remember?
That was the 2020 game?
That was 2020 AFC
All right.
Championship.
You're
Because they
okay.
didn't
I'm sorry.
celebrate with a podium in 2021. So,
Wow. You're right. You're right.
yeah.
I honestly, okay. Well, okay. But really, 2021 was the game that made it go from, like,
Yeah, they weren't supposed to win in 2020.
yeah. 2021 was the game that you were like, wow, this team is awesome. It's fun. Josh Allen's great. I cannot believe they just choked away a lead with 13 seconds left. They gave up the field goal and then lost it overtime, and Josh Allen never got the ball. They changed the rule, whatever. 22, 23, 24, 25, now in 2026, and it's the same problem every year. It's
Yep.
the defense kind of falls apart, like you talked about the other day. McDermott, you never really feel great about. Josh Allen, even when he plays great, it feels like he can't get on the field. And then, honestly, this year, he didn't play great. The Chiefs are honestly most of this of you go and face Mahomes every year and you lose. The one year that they played in Buffalo was their best chance. And the Chiefs actually like fumbled through the end zone. It feels like the Bills were going to win. But once again, that was the year where the Bills kicked the field goal to get the lead. But I'm like, or whatever. But I'm like,
they were kicking a field goal to tie it and they missed it. They lost.
No, that was at the end. But I'm saying like earlier in the game, like they had a chance to go up by more.
Yeah.
But instead of scoring the touchdown, they only kicked the field goal, which lets the Chiefs go down and score, and then they get the lead. And it's like you have to put away these games. The Bills can't rely on luck or whatever to win a game because they don't have that on their side. Nope. The Bills need to just go in and win the game, but instead it's always, okay, well now they need to get a stop because they only got the field goal and then, or they left 13 seconds left, and it's every time for the Bills.
Yeah.
And so recent history has been terrible. And right now it looks like that window might be closing. Add on to that, they had the worst 4-year stretch of any fan base of 4 straight Super Bowl losses. And I know it's, like great to make the Super Bowl, but as a fan, it sucks if you never won one and you lose 4 straight. That's when it's terrible. If the Patriots lost 4 straight tomorrow or the next 4 years, you still have Brady's. When you've never won and you lose 4 straight, it's way worse. Then they follow that up with, what was it? A few bad with the whatever the.
You're missing
the miracle, but
they
then
did have the greatest comeback in NFL history during this run.
The greatest one in history is the Patriots Falcons.
Well, that was 28-3. Frank Reich, backup quarterback, came in for an injured Jim Kelly and led a 35-3 comeback in the wild card round against the Oilers.
But to win the Super Bowl, I think is going to be considered.
Hey, got him to the Super Bowl. And then Jim Kelly got hurt in the Super Bowl. Frank Reich came in, and that became one of the biggest blowouts in Super Bowl history. But
yeah, listen, I get the Browns are probably more like sad fan base because they have like nothing to root for, and they did lose their team, and now that team that they lost is having success. I would just say consistently making the playoffs and losing is worse. The 4 straight Super Bowl losses alone would get them on the list.
Man.
But I think having maybe the most fun quarterback and maybe the best quarterback besides Mahomes, and I think, some of these years, Josh Allen might be better than Mahomes, and not even making the Super Bowl, that's just terrible. I think you have to have them one. I value that of like the heartbreak. I don't think the Browns had the yearly heartbreak the Bills have. I mean, but as a whole, the lack of success is probably worse for the Browns. Whereas the Bills have the success every season until the very end.
I mean, Browns fans did have no football for 4 years. Like, they did have no football team for 4 years.
Yeah,
that's kind of a tough stretch, too, They just had nothing to watch. Like,
would you rather get your hopes up and be devastated, or would you rather just know that you're just, don't have a chance?
Before they lost their team. And I was like,
I know, but it's not like the Browns were making Super Bowls.
The Drive. It was called The Drive. That happened.
What game was that in?
The AFC Championship game. Broncos-Browns. John Elway led the drive to tie the game, to win the game.
Right, so they've never made the Super Bowl. That was right before it.
Yeah. They lost the AFC Championship game back-to-back years on a drive and a fumble.
Listen, if you're going to argue that compared to the Bills' recent stretch, fine. But the Bills also do have the 4 straight Super Bowl losses.
Yeah, but did the Bills team go to another city and win 2 Super Bowls for that city? And then you're sitting there with nothing, being like, oh, man.
And honestly,
they got play him, and they got Lamar Jackson.
If you want to argue cities, they were arguing this too. Of like the Buffalo, they lost their basketball team, and then I was thinking, if you think of Cleveland,
before LeBron, Before
I was
LeBron.
saying before LeBron won that title, you had the Guardians, they were
They were the
Indians back
Indians. You can
then.
call them the Indians. You
Yeah,
can call them the
the
Indians.
Cleveland Indians lost to the Chicago Cubs, like the two teams with the longest droughts, and they lost that heartbreaker in a Game 7. So I think Cleveland was probably the worst sports city, like of all of them, until LeBron won in 2016.
And they lost to the Marlins in the 90s.
Yeah,
Like, that was bad. That was
yeah.
really bad. They said that Cleveland fans would go to like a sports bar and they would be playing Major League, the movie Major League, and they would cry at the end because they thought that'd be the only time they'd ever watched a Cleveland team win a championship. They would cry at the end. They'd be like, "This is it. It doesn't get better than this, guys. We'll never actually have one." So this is it. Also they won the pennant in that movie.
I hate that. That's my biggest problem in movies. Yeah. Have it be the championship. Rookie of the Year does this with the Cubs. It's like we won the pennant, and I'm like,
I mean, back then the pennant I know was a bigger deal than it is now. Like now it's big, but it used to be like the thing to win the pennant. And I think they just wanted to do it because it was the Yankees. For like the Indians, it was like beat the Yankees.
Well, the Cubs beat the Mets.
Well, yeah, that was
what? Why is that the team? Like you could have picked any of the National League teams. You picked the Mets as like the big bad.
Licensing, so they're like, who are we gonna license to be in the movie? The Yankees.
Actually, let's find out when that movie came out. That actually could
Major League?
No, Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, 1998?
93. So the Mets won in 86, and then by that time, though, I don't think the team was good anymore.
Major League came out in what? 94?
I'm on it. 89.
89, so earlier than that. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but if we did like cities, that's a whole other discussion. Cleveland's still probably, Cleveland might be one.
Cleveland's probably one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's probably cities out there have never won a championship.
Yeah, but but Cleveland has
it have to be multiple teams. It have to be multiple teams. Like New York and LA are disqualified because they have 8. Like, I don't care if you're a fan of the New York teams that don't win. You have 8 chances, so the city's probably happy. Yeah, so you can't complain. But yeah, so that'd be interesting.
New York surprisingly is bad. I mean, besides the Yankee, the Yankees
high on the list. Surprisingly, even though they have championships, Oakland. They've lost all their teams, all of them.
Well, are you considering the Warriors as Oakland?
I'm separating Oakland and San Francisco. So Warriors are now in San Francisco. Like they left Oakland to go to San Francisco.
If you don't count the Warriors, then yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, like they have the Warriors first, like the titles, but then they left them, and then the Raiders left them, and the A's left them. Everyone leaves Oakland. Poor Oakland, man. Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't be one on the list because they have the titles, and the Raiders. Yeah,
you had Steph Curry, so you're fine.
Yeah, and
they had Steph Curry and Durant.
And the A's had Moneyball, and the A's had Moneyball.
Yeah. That's another thing. Can anyone who commented on the Dodgers video watch the movie Moneyball?
Yeah.
To all the fans that say, you're just upset. Any team could have this.
Yeah.
They said every owner could pay this. Nope, that's just physical. That's just not true. That's just financially not true.
Like the one thing, like your comeback to all this should be: are you willing to sacrifice baseball in 2027 for this? That's what you have to ask. Because you're basically getting 1 year of Kyle Tucker, and then the salary cap's going to come in. We'll have replacement players in 2028 probably because some of the players won't come to play. They'll trade a bunch of players because they can't afford guys. And then we'll be in a weird spot in baseball. Yeah. So,
well, listen, I don't think Kyle Tucker is even worth that at all. I'm happy the Mets didn't get up for that price.
The Jags, the Blue Jays gave him I thought a reasonable deal. 10 years, $350. I was like, okay, like that makes sense. Like long term, you get the stability. Yeah. I'm like, but I saw 4.240. I'm like, well, he ain't coming to Toronto.
Yeah. It's more the principle of one team spending that much money bothers me. And I know I'm a Mets fan, but like the Mets bother me that they spend that much more.
They've spent more money in the last 3 off seasons than 17 franchises. They could have bought 17 franchises with the amount of contract money they've spent.
I know. I mean, like my point is like, listen, a homeless person and a rich person can both technically buy a Lamborghini. Like there's nothing like saying you're not allowed to buy a Lamborghini, but they both cannot actually afford it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pretend like all the owners have the same money.
Yeah. Now,
and, whatever.
They're not wrong that there are owners not spending money. Like, they're not wrong about that. But at the same time, $2.25 billion in contract money over the last 3 off seasons is a little excessive.
Yeah, I don't think the Cleveland Guardians or the Cincinnati Reds can afford that. I'm sorry. That is true.
Yeah.
Like,
look, we'll see. Hopefully, for their sake at least, baseball doesn't end and they figure out a way to get this done. And they're like, oh, let's just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
The Yankees used to do this, but they're not doing it anymore. So they're a little stingy now in New York.
A little bit. Their comebacks are like, well, the Yankees did it and no one complained. I'm like, I think other teams were complaining. The Yankees weren't complaining.
I don't think the Dodgers are unbeatable just because baseball's so unpredictable.
Yeah,
Pitcher gets
that is
cold.
True. But you know what?
They're going to lose 50 games, Chris. Why are you complaining? They're going to lose 50 games.
Well, they're not going to go undefeated, so you're still going to have 50 days of happiness when they lose.
Yeah. He had to. I think he was joking. I truly do think he was joking.
I hope so.
Because 50 games is such like a joke saying like they're gonna go 112-50, so enjoy it, buddy.
But yeah, so
that was a great comeback. That was great.
I honestly was like,
you're genuinely mad about it.
Because here's my thing: you can never tell if someone's joking or not.
He might have not been, and you might have been justified. But I'm like, that has to be a joke. You can't like legitimately.
Listen,
go, like,
Adam, I'm not gonna say my favorite ironic comment on here because it was inappropriate. But someone commented something with a spelling mistake when they were insulting our intelligence. My favorite comment I've ever heard.
That is
but
true.
We'll get back on track here. We're done with our NFL rankings. We just kind of want to talk about other tortured fan bases.
Yeah. Cities would be fun. We could do that in the off season. We could do that in the off season.
Yeah.
But we can add. We'll chime in on football, but we'll do more of the other sports.
Yeah, we're going to talk more baseball and basketball later in. But this was a quick little football thing because the Bills loss kind of spurred this conversation with my family. They thought it was undoubtedly Bills. My thought was Vikings are the only team I would say of the same near
game
success.
Pain, yes.
Game pain. Yes, thank you. The Browns are probably the most just tragic franchise.
Yeah, I just value losing your team. That definitely hurts.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. No, I don't, like I said, I don't root for a team in my state, but let's say Penn State just stopped playing football, I would be broken. It's all I got. It's all I got, Chris. It's all I got.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good point to end on.
We didn't even mention we were talking about Cleveland sports for LeBron. We didn't mention we were talking about the fumble, the drive, the shot. Michael Jordan's shot against the Cavs happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there were. We go other sports. Once
you go other sports, there's just too much, and I feel like most of them is the same characters. I felt bad the next game was the alumni game, and I'm just looking at these people the history they show is so great, but then I'm just thinking the bad Knicks history, and it's like, oh my god, they're
titles since the 70s. Basketball's an interesting one because a lot of teams have titles.
Do you remember the first time you saw the Patrick Ewing missed layup to win?
Yes, with Reggie. Yeah.
Yeah. When I saw that for the first time, because they're tortured, and then when I just looked up Knicks' worst losses, I don't know how old I was, but I was in high school. I could not fathom it, and I just don't know.
That might not be worse than John Starks literally not making a shot in Game 7 of the NBA Finals against the Rockets, and he just kept shooting. John Starks was going to shoot his way out of it, Chris. That was the game plan.
I respect it more than Paul George, who just
You know what happened? You know what happened? I don't mean to get off on another tangent. I like to with this, but it all started. The Knicks collapse that year in the finals all started when OJ got arrested.
Okay, we're going to end on that note. Went a little on tangents.
Famous Game 5. That's the famous Game 5
perfect
during
point to end the game on, Adam.
Bob Costas cutting in, being like OJ's in a Bronco. Back to Patrick Ewing.
Bill Simmons actually just did this, comparing modern day, who would it have to be for? Did you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, and his answer was Peyton Manning would be the OJ Simpson comparison of who today, what former NFL player.
With all the off. Yeah, with all
they were saying which one would you stop the NBA Finals to show? Would be very likable, so relevant with media, and would be wow, I was really surprised. And he was Peyton Manning, and I was oh, it's good comparison. But
and then he does all the commercials. He's in it that definitely makes sense.
We're just Adam. We're gonna contain that topic for another day.
One of the greatest days in sports history. I'm not talking about the Bronco chase being with Arnold Palmer's last U.S. Open. NBA Finals game. ESPN has a 30 for 30 on that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of the most memorable days ever.
Yep. All right. So we're gonna move on.
You remember where you were during the Bronco chase?
We're just gonna wrap up here. Thank you all for listening to the Pain and Panic podcast. Our next episode is going to come out on Friday.
Yep.
Could be on Thursday, Adam. We'll see.
I'll post on Friday. It's a little closer to the games. They're on Sunday. We gotta wait.
Post it on Friday.
Yeah.
Going to be a preview of the conference championships. I tend to flip flop a lot, so we'll see where I end up.
You got 3 of 4. I got 2 of 4. But we have a weird conversation to have here because, like, we mentioned that with the seeding, it makes the games hard to pick. My NFC Championship was Bears Rams because I had the Rams playing the Seahawks in the divisional round.
Oh,
So like it's weird. So just throw that out.
Our first picks going into the playoffs, I'm looking great.
Well, both your teams are out. Oh, you go first pick. I thought you were talking about like your original. I was trying to think like who do you have left of the original pick?
I predicted
Broncos.
Rams Seahawks. I got Rams Seahawks right in the NFC.
Yeah.
And then I had
Patriots Bills, but it's Patriots Broncos. I had the Broncos in.
Yeah.
I had Broncos Jags.
Yeah, so I had 3 of the 4 in the conference championships. You had 2 of the 4?
Yeah.
You had Rams.
My Super Bowl champion
Broncos,
is still alive though.
which is the
Rams.
You picked it.
Remember, I said the Rams were going to beat the Jags because LA teams breaking my heart was going to be a tradition.
All right. Well, we'll save that for Friday. Thank you all for listening. Stay up to date with our social media. We post, usually like 4 or 5 days a week.
Semi-daily.
Yeah, and that's at Pain and Panic Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, where you're probably watching us now on YouTube. So thank you all for listening. Stay tuned for our next videos, and we will see you on Friday.